It's time for your daily dose of all things Chicago sports. This is the Daily Score. Now, here's your host, Mark Grote.
What's going on? Welcome into the program. And the Bears talk right now, and specifically with the number one overall pick and Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. It is like water just flowing. You cannot turn it off at this point. We started this puppy up once the Bears had, it was clinched that they had the number one overall pick, and it's been coming strong and hard and from all sorts of different angles from just about everybody. And we're going to keep that talk going here today on the Daily Score as we bring in right now to discuss all things Bears. She is Kaitlin Sharkey of WGN and more famously of GN Sports, the program, every night at 10:30, right, Shark?
10:30 on Channel 9.
That's right. 10:30 every night, Channel 9. I was blessed to be part of their program the other night. So Kaitlin has been kind enough to come on the Daily Score. Congratulations, by the way, for this being your first appearance on the Daily Score. Ask Ray, we don't have a lot of guests on this program. So this is a big, big, big day for both of us, I feel like.
I mean, I was waiting for the invite, and I figured it was coming when I asked you to come on GN Sports. I expected it in full transparency, but I am thrilled to be part of the Daily Score, especially if you don't have a lot of guests.
Yes, and as you said off the air, I did cash in quickly. I did, Well, it's like, Kaitlin, you know what it's like this Bears thing, you just want to hear from everybody. And Kaitlin covers the Bears for a living too. She's out at Haugh every day during the Bears season as well. She covers it all, but she is just as close to the Bears as anybody. So I will ask you to begin this podcast. Where are you on what you think the direction? I don't know if I want to go you think it should be or what you think it's going to be. For now, I'll keep it safe for you. What do you think it's going to be for the Chicago Bears with that number one pick, with quarterback, with Justin Fields?
I think, and again, I've talked myself in and out of different points of position and ideas, and I've tried to put my head in the mind of Ryan Poles through all of this, and it's changed a lot since the last game of the season and when we all figured out the draft status and order. But right now, I feel like there is no way this GM, this group passes up on a quarterback at number one. Again, I just feel like they've seen enough from Justin, and whether or not you think he should stay, he should go. There's obviously interest from other teams in the NFL. There's trade value there. Ryan Poles is sitting there holding all the chips, and they also have this incredible prospect coming out of college football just sitting there at number one. So I think they're in a position now. They know we got to go with Caleb Williams. We have to take this direction of the organization and see what you can get for Justin Fields. But that is not me saying what they should do. That's just where I think they are, the direction that they're headed. I just feel like it would be so hard for them to go, no, we have number one again. No, we don't want a quarterback. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't keep being the team that passes up on the top. I mean, if you want to go back to Patrick Mahomes, that's fine. A lot of teams messed up on Patrick Mahomes, but then there was, guess what? Ryan Poles missed on CJ Stroud last year, and there were others as well, but that's a quarterback that probably should have blown him away last year. So just kind of building on your point, they're in this spot where it would be, even if they do like Justin and they think that they could, because Ryan said it. He said, we think that he can lead this team, even if they really believe that, which, I think mostly they do. I think that they have to be thinking, we've got to take a shot on this potentially generational quarterback. And it's a huge gamble still, because we know that there's a real bust factor. How forward are you looking to the combine and seeing, and we don't get to watch every single drill that goes on, but seeing what it's all about physically, but even the backstage stuff, the meetings with Poles, the meetings that we get to be a part of, how important do you think all of that still is?
I think it's really important. And I think it's important for them in their decision-making process, because this is their opportunity to meet with Caleb Williams. And obviously we're not in on those meetings, but I feel like we'll gather a sense of where their head is at. And I think, he's only going to show us so many cards in his hand. Ryan Poles is great at showing us enough, but not enough, and playing that game to send messaging throughout the rest of the NFL. But I think it is huge in a standpoint of, I feel like we're going to see the writing on the wall in some degree. And maybe they tip their hand, maybe they don't. But to see, like you said, the conversations behind the scenes, to see these guys up close and personal and hear what they have to say and talk to teammates and coaches. And it's such an opportunity to really learn more, because I feel like we've literally interviewed every person on the planet about Justin or Caleb, especially coming off the Super Bowl week. I was joking with Jared Payton. I'm like, I mean, we're pulling people, I feel like, just filling up with gas at the gas station. I'm like,
it's so true.
It's incredible. It's incredible to get all the reactions and opinions, but I want more like concrete, let me see some things and hear some valid points from the people that are truly making the decisions.
Yeah, no, it is incredible, the conversations that are being had and the perspectives that we're hearing. I mean, I'm complicit, and you are too. We're all doing it, and we're doing it right this very second. But it is amazing. And just how many times have you been in that vein? Have you been asked? I mean, this happens to us as sports professionals in the media all the time. You go out with your friends, you hang out with your family, and everybody's coming up to Kaitlin and Kaitlin's got to have the scoop. Yeah. How much of that has people have been like, okay, Kaitlin, so what's the deal? What are the Bears going to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's constantly. And some of my colleagues and coworkers here at WGN, who I love that are in the news side of things, if they catch me in the makeup room or something, they're like, oh, I'm sure you're so annoyed about talking about Justin Fields or Caleb Williams, but who do you think they're going to take?
yeah, they can't.
It cracks me up, because it's like, we just can't help ourselves. And I mean, that's a good sign, right? That's a good sign for the organization. It's a good sign for both quarterbacks, because I've heard and seen both discussions and arguments for both. And I think that illustrates the size of the decision, and also how hard the decision, how complex it is.
There's no doubt. We're talking with Kaitlin Sharkey of WGN-TV, GN Sports, every night, 10:30 on WGN on Channel 9. As she said, you can see if you're watching on YouTube right now, she is on Twitter, X, at K Rose Sharkey. You asked me this the other night. I believe it was you. I know Chris Bowden was there the night that I got to be a part of your program. But there is another pick. There is another pick in that first round right now. Who knows if it's going to change? If we can move off of quarterback, what is your second most desired piece on the Bears? Whether maybe it's not in the draft, maybe it's in free agency, but where do you want to see the Bears add impact other than quarterback?
I think obviously wide receiver and another rusher to me is key for this team. And I've said it before on other platforms, but they have a real wide receiver problem in Chicago. Yeah. I mean, I know it's great that they got DJ Moore, and DJ Moore did great, wonderful things, but that room was a disaster outside of DJ Moore. And when you're watching the final game of the season and Velus Jones Jr. and Trent Taylor are in the huddle, you're just looking at yourself like, how did we get here? How did we get here? And that is not a slight on Velus or Trent. To me, that's a look at how did that room develop into that, and understand they dealt with injuries, and Darnell Mooney had his, whatever we want to call it, season and his departure now from the Bears. But that is such a glaring need. So they have to address that. And like you mentioned on the show the other night, Grote, someone opposite of Montez Sweat, because Ngakoue was hurt. DeMarcus Walker was okay, and he did what he needed to do. But if you really want to do damage and you want to wreak havoc as a defense, which I think this defense under Matt Eberflus and now their new defensive coordinator is really capable of, but you need another person. You need another guy. And I think the draft is a perfect opportunity to do that. And if they need a new center as well. I think that's a free agency route. I mean, obviously Ryan Poles loves his O-lineman, so I could definitely see them picking up an O-lineman in the draft, but center is a major need as well.
Yeah, it seems like, and I guess we probably expected Ryan Poles to be good at that just because he played the position, but he's been pretty good so far, except for the Lucas Patrick signing really did not work. I mean, like developing and drafting good, but the Lucas Patrick thing, I hate to say it, Kaitlin, it was a bust. That was a straight bust and it's not like they lost billions of dollars on the deal, but that was such a disappointing era of Lucas Patrick.
Yeah, and I think it was just, I don't know. I feel like it was just wrong from the start. And I know how appreciative Lucas Patrick told us to our faces he was for the Chicago Bears organization and everything like that. But between injuries, which I understand linemen deal with a number of injuries, but outside of Lucas Patrick, it was a disaster too. So if like your already starting center is not rock solid and then your backups are an absolute disaster. And unfortunately for Cody Whitehair, I think we saw too much of that. But it's amazing. Again, you think to yourself, how did we get here? How did we, that was another position where I'm like, and now maybe you bring in a new center now when you have a new quarterback to be some continuity is needed in this organization.
It's really like, I haven't been thinking much about offensive line, but now you've got me thinking about it because like, are they going to pay Tevin Jenkins? Do they trust that he's going to stay healthy? I love the man. I think he's turning into a really nice story, but he gets injured a lot. Is Braxton Jones, who was hurt last year too, like, is he actually, like, as we start to think about actually building this team as opposed to just rebuilding it, is Braxton Jones the left tackle? I think Darnell Wright is pretty good. Is Nate Davis, is he dependable? So damn it, Kirk, you got me thinking about the O-line now.
But I will say this, I feel like all in all, this team is in a much better position this year when you're going down the list of things we need to check off and areas of need, much better position, because I felt like last year at this time, we were having conversations where like, everywhere, get us to wherever.
Absolutely. And you were right. We're all right. Wow. That's when nobody was mad at anybody. See, now we're all fighting each other on social media because it's like one or two guys that we're talking about. But you're right. Before it was just go get anything. So I kind of still feel that way. Like as far as the offense is concerned for the Bears, like I still think I think we just did it. I mean, except for probably tight end. And I don't know what they're going to do with running back. We'll figure all that stuff out later. But yeah, I mean, it's the same old story with the Bears that it's got to be about what they do on offense, but clearly there's some stuff on the defense that needs to get taken care of as well. Loved your point too about the wide receiver stuff because man, like you mentioned all those guys, and unfortunately, like I still have hope for Tyler Scott, but unfortunately he had a disappointing season too. Like he had opportunities and he had drops, and it just like there's still hope there, but even what you thought might blossom didn't in that room.
No, and especially later on in the season, and there were people like, well, why was he targeting a rookie receiver in big moments and big plays? And you think to yourself, well, he's had an entire season to be ready for those big moments and those big plays and those big completions. So when those mistakes continuously happen, and again, I'm not writing off Tyler Scott by any means, but you didn't really see that flash at all. You saw his speed, but not the connection. And, when Justin needed him at times, it felt like the developing hadn't happened. But I think that speaks volumes for that entire room, because that entire position group, where did we see growth? Where did we see any sort of production outside of DJ Moore, who just came ready to rock?
Right. And the DJ Moore thing was awesome. I mean, it really was cool to see that sort of chemistry actually right. Okay, so last question. This is the last thing, a little hypothetical for you, as we've kind of made a theme here of the wide receiver. So let me ask you this. If you had in your choice of, let's say T. Higgins becomes available out of Cincinnati. He's available. Let's just say he's available. But you could also have either Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze. I'm not saying Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm saying those two guys. Would you rather draft and develop one of those two potential rookie stars or take the sure thing in T. Higgins?
Man, right now, I mean, that's tough. That's tough.
That is tough, isn't it?
Those guys, I mean, those draft prospects are incredible. And Dunze and Neighbors, like you wanna bring them to Chicago. But I feel like, call me crazy, the Bears don't have another vet, another sure thing. Like they need that in that room.
That's the answer.
These draft guys are going to be Tyler Scott's, or obviously they're not. They're at a much higher caliber, but they need another vet. They need another guy that knows how to make plays, be in games. Like it's such a missing need for them. So give me the sure thing. Give me the sure thing to compliment Mr. Moore.
That's it. We just saw it with DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my brain was going, that we just saw DJ Moore do exactly that, and it worked, and it was perfect, and he knew, like, he was the best player from that first day of training camp when we were sitting there in July, for sure. I mean, and it had lasted throughout the whole season. So do that again. I totally and completely agree with you. That said, I'd take Marvin Harrison Jr. just over just about anybody.
Well, obviously. But I feel like those guys, Moore and Higgins, they know what to do, how to do it, how to prepare, how to jump right in and maximize whoever is there at quarterback. And I think that's asking a lot for a rookie, regardless of how talented they are. But yeah, give me Marvin Harrison as well. But,
amen. Yeah. Amen. Kaitlin, this has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the Daily Score. I hope it felt okay. These are deep waters. We're both swimming in here, you know.
This is great. Thank you. And now I feel like now the favor is on you. So I have another request to be on Daily Score.
It is absolutely your turn. Yes. Thank you, Kaitlin. I appreciate it as always. That is, again, Kaitlin Sharkey from WGN-TV, from GN Sports. Every night, it's a live sports show that they do. And I am periodically on the show with those guys. It's a blast. Absolutely. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. For our guy, Ray Diaz, who puts all these shows together, I am Mark Grote. We will talk to you tomorrow on the Daily Score. Take care.